All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pedro Hannibal podcast. Forget the countdown
No
because
countdown.
somebody was late. It was me. How
Yep.
you doing? Well, when New York, we are winners here. So, the
Oh,
Knicks are doing well. The Brooklyn Nets are doing well. Check the stats, my good friend Pedro. We're winning games over
I'm
here.
out of here.
And then wait, not suit just started, so you gotta stay. Giants are winning. It's just what we do here. We win, and I appreciate everyone already here. Pia, my favorite person. Pia is already in the building. Koala is in here. Hello, Bobby. He comes in. He's calling us the cuddle crew. That's
that works. That's fine.
that
That's
works.
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
we
It's
secure
fine.
in our sexuality.
I don't care.
we
It's
we
fine.
cuddle each other.
It's fine.
Cliff Dog, what's up? What's going on? Yeah, Pia's already upset. Yeah, it's gonna be more of that going to be in this delicious hour. But first, I have something. I have a bone to pick with Pedro.
Here we go.
Are you ready?
I've been waiting. For what time is it? I've been waiting for 20
That's
minutes.
true.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
true. I
Let's go.
apologize for being
Don't
late.
ask me if I'm ready.
Listen, Pedro, you've made a short on your other channel, right? And I think Pedro's against holidays. I think he's against love. He is against communication of love and holidays.
I can't deny it. You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
He attacked every family member he had, saying, do not group chat him at all. Don't tell him you love him or you care about him or you're thinking about him. He said, leave me alone. He kind of low key flexed how many people wanted to talk to him. He had like 500 messages wasn't answered. And I think it was a direct shot at me because I texted him during a group chat and I said something really, it wasn't that much of a special thing, but,
get out of here, bro.
and I felt triggered. So I'm waiting for apology. Pedro, go ahead.
Hold on, let me clear my throat. You get no apologies. If you feel triggered, that's a personal issue. I have no reason for that. Check your feelings. I'm sorry.
All right.
To give you all a little reference, basically, okay, listen. Hannibal and I are in a group text, which is fine because that thing doesn't blow up, right? But I'm in 3 other group texts, and it's only always around the holidays or if somebody's getting married or something, is happening. And I hate it. I can't stand it. And I can mute them, right? Like you can silence it.
You can mute the conversation.
But you still have that little alert of 41, 1,000, 10,000. And it's like, what the fuck? Like what? Why? and I hate to be, and I've done it before, right? With my girlfriend's side of the family. They go hard. Like they around the 4th of July, because we go up there and see them, and there's like 50 of them, right? And they all love they just love to talk on the text. And I exited out of it maybe 2 years ago.
And everyone can see you left.
And everybody saw I left. So I get home and my girl's like, did you like leave the text? I was like, yeah. Is that what's the problem? They were like, oh, well, people were offended. I said,
ew,
that's not my problem. Don't include me in your shenanigans. I don't even know these people.
Pedro Scrooge Santiago does not want to be. He doesn't want to share. He don't want any love. I think me and you get along. We have the same level of communication in terms of text. Like we don't. I never. You don't blow me up. I don't blow you up.
No, we do the voice to text and it works. You know what I'm saying? Like
a good relationship. So I know it wasn't directed towards me, but I get text messages all the time, and I just eat them. I just take them. I know I understand.
Yeah.
But you got sit in there. I think because it could be something important in there. It'll probably 99% of the time it won't be important.
No, but listen, bro, it won't be, because if it's important, you can call me or send me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to hear about what casserole dish you're gonna make, what time. I don't need to hear about the weather in Alaska. Like I don't.
This is some shot fire. What casseroles you guys are getting? There's a lot of casseroles in here.
And you know what's funny? If I doubt that a family member's watching this, and if they are, I want the smoke. Bring it, please. Like I don't want to hear. I just don't involve me in all the mess. I don't want to. I'm good.
Listen. You know what? Listen. Love is love. Love is good, Pedro. I don't know if you know.
Listen, I know I'm being Scroogey. I mean, I got a lot of people that I love that love me. Like I'm blessed, bro. Like 1,000%. Like I know that. But I'm also petty, and I'm very like, my phone's just always going off anyway because of the line of work that I do. And you know what I'm saying? Like
you
you're
just want to
filming
breath. You want to
content.
breathe.
I don't
want to
need
breathe.
41 messages I got to thumb through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need that. Just don't need it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you're petty, but I'm looking in the chat right now and I see a lot of pettiness. I see people talking about refs being brought
Let's get into it.
out.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I wanted to talk about FIFA, but fine, we'll talk about the game if you want. I mean,
we got to talk about FIFA. Yes, we do need to talk about that. But listen, I want to start the show because, okay, my man, for y'all that don't know, shout out to the chat. Nova, damn, bro. Listen, you got to feel some type of way. I'm not a Commanders fan. I could care less, to be honest with you. You got to feel some type of way. If that happened to my Bears, I'm hot. I'm heated.
Said, how much did y'all pay the refs?
I'm saying I'm throwing beer bottles at my TV. I'm feeling some type of way, right? Shout out to Levi. I'm sure you're feeling good. You and Hannibal, I feel like you guys won the Super Bowl. I feel like this was your Super Bowl.
I actually want to apologize because I think we kind of took over the live a little bit. You guys were talking about something important, and we're both were idiots talking about the game. Bobby was his fault too. He was in there too. Yeah, we won. It's a win. It was a win. It's a win. Yes, and Hector. Shout out to Hector, my favorite guy that's in here right now. A win is a win.
Facts.
But go on, Pedro. Actually, I have the play if you want. If that's what we're talking about. I don't know if that's what we're talking about.
Listen, I just want to say this. Like I said last week, like I told Hannibal yesterday, I sent him a lovely voice text. Yes. I was like, I'm doing a wellness check, making sure you're good. I'm rooting for you, even though I lost $50. Whatever, screw that. I think that it's good. I think that the two games they've played have both been down to the wire. It's good for the NFL. It's good for the Giants. It's good for the Commanders. That is good. It helps breed a little bit of a rivalry. Like, it's good football. You want to be on the edge of your seat. That is good. And we'll get to FIFA World Cup in a minute or later because that was amazing. Yeah. But I think it's good. But listen, Terry, my boy, Scary Terry from Ohio State over there, checking in with the ref twice. That ref is trash. I'm sorry. He's trash. He's trash. And to call that on that critical play, you are a miserable referee. I'm sorry. I don't care. It is what it is. That's my opinion. And the pass interference, I don't really feel any type of way about that because that happens. Like, that's just part of the game. It's subjective. We'd have just as much people having an opinion as if they called that play on like one of the last plays. If they called the PI, Giants fans would be upset. So you can't win either way. The Redskins should have played better. They had other opportunities. So it is what it is. But that referee, garbage in my opinion. Absolute trash.
So the one that everyone is the two plays, right? Is the PI, which it could go back and forth. That's how inconsistent things are, where it's like, okay, when do they count it? But this one is a bit of an issue, right? So he said he told it that, and then he said it was good, and then he just throws the flag up.
Yeah. And he did move. The ref told him to move up, and he did move up a bit. Yeah. And like at that point, if you're a wide receiver, there's kind of like you see these guys, these wide receivers, they always do this, right? Not all the time, I'm sorry, but they do it very often. And the novice fan doesn't know, why are they pointing at the ref? Well, they're making sure they're on the ball, right? They're in the right spot. Right. And if they do that, the ref will signal to them, okay, you need to, you're not right. And it gives them a second or 2 or 3 seconds to correct themselves so there isn't a flag. And for the ref to realize Terry's checking in with him, doing what he's supposed to do, and the ref doesn't say anything back, or he does, and then he does move forward, that's bullshit. It's a bad ref. That's a bad referee because he's so far away from the play that should have been a touchdown in my opinion. It's bad refereeing. So
yeah, so this is where I'm a little confused, and apparently this happens all the time. Happens all the time, and I'm wondering, is there a better way where the ref is not? I mean, refs are a part of the game to a certain extent, but it is a player responsibility to know where he is positioned. But at the same time, there's angles involved, and he's a ref on the line. But I'm just wondering, should that be the ref's job to let a wide receiver know that he belongs in the right spot? That's because I didn't know that until I was told when I was watching a lot of the thoughts about a lot of the breakdown of the game. It was like, oh, this happens all the time. Refs usually let. I'm like, should that be a good idea? Because you're putting the onus on the ref. Yeah, he clearly he messed up. He really messed up, and then like cover his mess up like it was your fault.
Yeah.
Which it is because he's on the field, the ref isn't. I feel
Yeah,
like
but I want you to think about this. Terry is what, 20 yards away from the ball, right?
Yeah.
So he's checking in to like just check with the ref. Hey, I'm good. I'm in a good spot. Like you're talking inches maybe. So it's hard sometimes to eye up that ball. There's a lot of players on the field. So the ref tells him, hey, move up a little bit. That's what he said. So you can clearly see on the tape that he did take a step forward. That should be enough, in my opinion. So
yeah, I think Bobby had if it went well, like, okay, if no one else noticed this and the ball didn't go near him, then forget it.
That's what I'm saying. So they held the flag on the PI, but they don't hold the flag on that. And the PI has more of a significance play because there's actual content you can see. So it's bad refereeing at the end of the day.
I think, well, I think this happens in NFL too, but I know the NBA, after they finish the game, after they finish refereeing the game, they go home or they go in their hotel, whatever. They watch the entire game again.
Yeah.
And make notes.
Yeah.
And they basically, I don't know if they grade themselves. I'm sure that the league is grading them. So I'm wondering, I'm sure the NFL is doing that too. I think that ref was covering his own ass by, I got put this clip because if I let him above, even if nothing happens, then I get a bad grade for not checking that because it's right in front of my face, right? Like, oh, this bad call was in front of my face. Let me cover myself.
Maybe, but that where he's so far away from the ball, and you're talking a matter of inches, nobody's gonna. I do not think that anybody's going to critique that because of where he was at and position himself on the football.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible.
But that's a good point, though. That's a good point. Because
I know the best referees get to ref more into the playoffs, right? So this dude probably will not be refereeing any major.
So he screwed himself.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
So it's public. You're saying that he wants to protect himself because somebody's watching, but he actually screwed himself out of refereeing a playoff game, which would be about $100,000.
Yes.
Maybe he could have reffed the Super Bowl, which is $250,000. So I think
you make a mistake or you're in the midst of mistakes you're making, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to clean up, but then you make it worse. Yeah. So that's what I think it probably happened. But as what Hector says, a win is a win. I bet $50 and I won $145. As my team, first of all, John should have won the last game, so it should have been 2. The one thing about Daniel Jones, I know Nova is really hating on Daniel Jones. The one team that Daniel Jones can beat is the Commanders. He's 5-1, I think, or 5-2. So he's like, I think he's 5-1-1 or some ridiculous thing like that. Yeah. That's the one team. That's why I bet the $50. I know the Commanders. He should beat the Commanders. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that that it didn't work that way, but. Everyone's still in the mix. Giants. I think I think the Giants is a little closer. They can probably get it. They still have a chance to go into playoffs. This was not expected. In the beginning of the season, me and Pedro were debating how, what team would have most wins, but no one thought playoffs except Levi. And it's funny, Levi's not here. Levi was like, we got the best running back in the league. We're gonna go 10-0. So, I don't think he said that, but Saquon is doing his thing. He had a really good game. I still hope that Giants don't try to pay him a boatload of money. I don't franchise tag him. I don't know what the financial situation is. Where else they can have franchise tag?
You cannot pay running backs serious money. You just can't. Yeah.
But he's the only source of offense that they have. Like, okay, he's dependable. And also there's a lot of good defensive plays by the Giants.
What's the guy? Kevin, the rookie, Kevin Trudeau or something. Like
it's a weird name.
Had a fantastic game.
He looked fantastic as well. So, and Nova's already putting out there. He says, "Hey, listen, the Commanders will still have a better record when the season ends." Pedro, I think you agree, right? You think that
I do actually. Yeah. I do. I've been saying that for the last maybe 3 weeks,
and that's true. You have,
and I still think though. All of the NFC East teams could still make the playoffs. I still believe that. I think, yesterday when we went in, everybody, all the NFC teams were available. The Giants are in the playoffs. I think the Redskins or the Commanders, are out of it right now, if I'm not mistaken. But I still think it's possible that all the teams will make it in. That's what I'd like to happen, just for my boy Hannibal. but I do think that I think the Commanders are playing better football over the last month, and I think that means something. And I think last night's loss though is a little bit of a sting because I think they were there. And the one thing we have to remind ourselves is even if that touchdown counts, they still need a 2-point conversion, right? Because they were down 8 points. So a lot of other things would have had to happen, and they still would have. Even if that happens, they still got to go into overtime. And if that happens, probably going to tie again, which would have been hilarious.
I was nervous as F towards the end. I'm like, I feel like the Giants are going to try to drop this one. I got to go to the play, to the overtime. I'm worried about my money. I want to lose $50. I'm not balling. I'm just trying to make it in this world. But then I realized, actually, I was getting so nervous. I started to pay attention to other stuff. I was like watching other things on TV and checking out your live. I'm like, I can't focus on this. That's why you should never bet on a team that you have an emotional connection with. No. Like I did it for the podcast and, talking, hanging out with you guys because I enjoyed, but I usually never bet on my teams unless I know they suck. So I'm like, the Knicks, I think I made a good amount of money betting against the Knicks last season because you knew that they were going to just, shit the bed and be terrible. But when you really care, you probably shouldn't bet because you're not, there's no logic. It's all emotion. It's not logic there. Yeah. So I'm looking at the Giants' next 3 games. I am not too confident, to be honest.
Who do they got?
So they have the Vikings.
No, the Vikings. Okay.
The Eagles at the very end. They got the Vikings, Colts, that should be a win, and the Eagles. Now the Minnesota Vikings.
Those are all. Who knows? They could win all 3. They could lose all 3.
The Vikings had a real high by beating, somehow winning that game.
Yeah.
So maybe they kind of do a letdown as a 1 p.m. It's a 1 p.m. game. And the Commanders, their next 3 games are. Let me check where I'm at. 49ers, Browns, and Dallas.
So that they could lose. That's tough. Yeah, I think the Giants right now are in the driver's seat because they are, half game up or 1 game up or whatever it is of the Commanders. But the last few weeks, man, can be tricky, because some teams, let's say the Eagles, have it kind of sewn up. I know Jalen Hurts just got hurt, so he's not going to play versus the Cowboys. Yeah. Depending on where they're at. Let's say they do win that game, they might rest some of their starters, and
definitely.
The last couple of weeks can be really different versus depending on who's fighting for a playoff seed and who's already in. So it's going to be interesting. But I think right now the way it stands and the schedule upcoming and the way the standings are, I think the Giants have the advantage. So
and also I'm looking at the Commanders. I mean, if Dallas got things. If they're kind of set in whatever they're doing, they may just sit out in that last game. The Commanders may win. Cleveland, I don't know what's going on with them. I think we all thought, as soon as that guy comes in, they're going to start winning games. It doesn't work that way. I was watching some of the highlights. They were like, he didn't have the correct playbook or something. Like he didn't even have the correct plays while he was gone. I'm like, who set this up? That's crazy. He didn't have the information to even study. Like, well, no wonder he's playing like there's no connection. It just seems like they're not playing well. The guy, he was just sat down and he just stayed in shape, but not learning what's going on. Because, NFL playback is a very complicated thing, and it's timing and it's nuance. And there's also a lot of stuff that you have to improvise. So no wonder they suck. So I think the Commanders definitely got that game. Well, it's a good chance they're going to win that game. So we'll see. I know, guys, you guys are a little upset in the comments, but hey, listen. Feel good for me, because I always feel good for you guys. Feel good for me. I have a few more dollars in my account.
A few more dollars,
a few more dollars. That's what I do. New York, we win. That's like I said. Knicks, how many games they win in a row? Nets, how many games they win in a row? This is what we do, dog.
No, it's not. It's not actually. I mean, listen. Maybe you've had a good couple of weeks. I mean, listen. My Bears had a horrible season. We've got 3 W's, but.
You got your quarterback.
What I like about the Bears is we do have a quarterback. We have a quarterback.
Yeah,
Justin Fields is real. I don't know if you guys saw that run against the Eagles. I mean, the Bears had a lead in a couple of times in that game. Like Justin Fields is that guy. Once they figure out a couple pieces to put with him, and we get back to playing defense, which the Bears always do, and I think they're going to draft some defensive guys, maybe do free agency and get an offensive weapon, and maybe draft a rookie wide receiver late in the round that could be beneficial. The Bears are going to be, we're good. We're in good hands, in my opinion. And we've been in a lot of games. We've been fighting with good teams. The Cowboys are a playoff team. We were, in that game. The Eagles just yesterday lost by 5 points. Various other, we're good. I'm not worried about it. But it's been tough. I mean, the Bears have been, it's hard to watch this year,
Yeah. Hector has something to talk. He wants some more Knicks conversation. He says, didn't Pedro say the Knicks suck?
I said that they would be a 500 team. That's what I said.
And he said they destroyed the Bulls on back-to-back games. Facts are facts, Pedro, and you're just gonna have to understand that. There's something else I want to talk about, though. I don't know if you've been following the Orlando Magic. What's going on over there?
Yeah, what have they won? Like 6 games in a row, something like that.
Yeah. They're a super young team. They're all, I don't know, they're all 6'10", dribbling like guards, shooting 3-pointers. Got Bo there. Is it Bo? Is that how you pronounce it? Bo?
Bobo? I don't know. Manute Bol. His last name is Bol.
Yeah, and his son, he just took his last name and said it twice. The dude is playing like that dude that everyone's tanking for. Victor. So it's like, I don't know what's going on over there. I tell you, I mean, I've been watching a few YouTube videos. They're breaking stuff down. Like, hey, listen, this is a secret, kind of really good team that's come out of nowhere, and I didn't think of anything of it. But, they're young. We'll see. I guess we'll probably see them in a few years beating the crap out of the next one.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I like where the NBA is because there's a lot of really good young talent, and what the NBA's done in the last 30 years is it's able to stay relevant because of the superstar power. And every 5-6 years, a couple other guys kind of come up, right? As a couple other guys are getting older, and the NBA is in great shape right now. And I like to watch these young guys. I think it's fun.
Well, yeah, and I mean, right now we're going back and forth with the MVP. I think Novik Joker's probably going to get it again. Is it possible to get it again?
He can't get 3. No.
You see the numbers this dude's throwing up though.
But he's going to have to.
It's some Wilt Chamberlain type crap. I mean, he's basically he runs the offense. He's defending. He's scoring. He looks like he don't look like he's running fast or anything. And he's like complete control of the team. I don't know. I mean, I think
Luka or Justin Tatum will win the MVP. Justin Tatum right now is probably in the top 1 or 2. The Boston, they got a great record. I think the Dallas Mavericks could have a little bit of a run, maybe run off like 9, 10 games in a row, in February or March, and he'll play really well doing that. I can see Luka or Justin Tatum. That's who I think is going to be MVP this year.
Yeah. But this is when we start really paying attention to the NBA. Yeah. Right after that halftime, the All-Star break. Then we started. I think the NBA is in good hands. I think, LeBron's getting older, and you got the KDs and everything. They're getting a little older. I think these young guys are young, and I don't know if they're starting to understand a little bit. They kind of look at how everyone is, the older guys, especially the ones who kind of made things other than basketball a priority. And they're just like, I just want to play basketball. Like, this is all I know. I'm not going to pretend I know more than I know. I'm going to play basketball, smile, make some money. That's where it kind of should be. And I understand, you should be able to speak up. But listen, if you don't know what you're talking about, just play basketball. If you really don't know what you're talking about and you're just listening to what people on Twitter are telling you, or you reading one page of a book and then getting, Photoshop or getting, picture, you watch it, you reading a book, you're not really reading it. I'm talking about
James.
Yeah, I'm talking about LeBron James. Just play basketball. LeBron James, genius basketball player. Because that's where he put his 10,000 hours of perfection and craft in the basketball. So I think a lot of the other younger players are like, I don't want to deal with that nonsense. I just want to play ball and make money and, hang out. And so, I think that would make the most sense. But if Luka gets it, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, without that, if he's not on that team, how much games is it going to be?
Oh man, who knows? Yeah, he's fun to watch, but he needs somebody else. They got Jalen Brunson the guy on the Knicks, the point guard. He came from Dallas, right? And he had a really good playoffs last year. That's what really got him that $1 trillion contract, whatever the Knicks gave him. He's
overpaid.
Right? It's still overpaid.
But he's playing hard. I can't say he's trash. He's not embarrassing himself. He's not. No. He's not doing what the quarterback of the Broncos is doing, where you just pay him a lot of money, and he's been worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're getting too old, and I don't understand the value of money anymore. Like you said, I said this last time. $100 million contract used to be something special. Now it's just you give it to anybody who can dribble a ball.
Yeah.
I'm being a bit facetious, but it's a little different compared to how it is right now. I'm looking at Hector. Hector's asking, did you guys see highlights of Brownies versus Kaylin? Is it Kaylin Mello? Is how you pronounce it? I don't watch too much basketball unless it's professional, and that's just how I do it. I'm sure these kids. Hopefully, Bronny makes it. Bronny has a lot of scrutiny for a young man. I don't know how he's handling it, being such a young person, dealing with, are you as good as your father? You're not as good as your father. Oh, your younger brother is better than you. Like, hopefully he's not reading anything. He's just playing basketball. And I know a lot of people are saying LaMelo's kid is, Carmelo's kid is the real deal.
Yeah.
How's he dealing with that?
Yeah.
I think it's too much. I really think it's too much. I think we talked about this before. We need to leave these kids alone, but I understand it, the views and the clicks but man, they're just children. They still just children. Like, leave them alone.
They are. But think about it like this. I think there's imagine being 16, 17, 18 and you've got ESPN at your game, or you're on you're on Sports Center and Stephen A's talking about you. That's pretty cool. Probably it probably helps you out with the girls at school, but it's not, it's not cool in the way that these are children, right? They're still developing their minds and their bodies, and we're critiquing them and ranking them. It is kind of weird, but at the end of the day, like, these kids are gonna make a lot of money in whatever he does. He'll make his own path. And not, do I think Bronny James is on a trajectory to make it to the NBA? I do not. I think the only reason
you don't think he's gonna even make it to the NBA?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm hoping that he does. I wish him well, but the only reason we talk about him is because of who his dad is, right? He's a good player.
He looks just like him too. Like,
he's got a lot of tools, but there's a lot of better players in high school and in college that would get drafted before him.
Yeah.
And if he gets a shot, that's great. I could see him being a G League guy, maybe overseas, but he hasn't really progressed as much as like his younger brother has, Carmelo's kid, like, he's just kind of been going up a little bit. And it's just because of who his dad is, and he makes a couple highlight reels every once in a while doing a dunk or something like that. But he's not going to be able to do those things. He's a little undersized, I think, for what he'd have to do in the NBA. So.
Yeah, and hopefully that doesn't bother him a lot if things don't work out. Because I'm thinking about it in terms of Hollywood and how children are basically ruined in Hollywood, right? Very talented kids, they can act very well, they start really young, get tons of attention, a lot of accolades, well deserved, obviously. But then they're either listening to too much things, listen to the wrong people. There's a lot of money involved. Who knows what their parents are doing? And then also their heads are huge, right? Imagine being 16, 17, 18 years old, being told that you're great and awesome and people care. I couldn't imagine. I would have been god awful in terms of dealing with that. So just hope that things, I think the fact that LeBron James is a good person. I think Carmelo is a good person.
Yeah,
it's a little easier to deal with. They kind of understand that they were in the same shoes as
they were in the same. Well, even more. Even it was LeBron at 16 or 17 was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right? Yep. LaMelo went to Oak Hill. Then he went to Syracuse, won a championship as a freshman. So these guys have always been in the limelight. So I think they understand what their kids are going to be going through, and they're going to lead them the right way. And they seem like very active fathers, and so I think
both came from the dirt, fine. Came from the mud. They went without. And I understand Bryce is going to, Bryce has more potential. They're saying that Bryce he has the height and he actually can shoot the ball.
And he's bigger. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be significantly bigger, I think, as far as length and height. And I think he's got a better shot. I think he's going to be. I could see him in the NBA versus Bronny James.
Do you think Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's unclaimed son?
I've seen that. No, I don't think that. I think that's something fun to talk about. I don't think that's.
Listen, MJ would love to take that because it made it funny, but his kids never. I think they played college ball. I think they never cared
one
about
of his
playing
sons,
basketball.
Marcus, I think, went to Illini, played at Illinois, but they weren't like that. Yeah.
But also, Michael Jordan is proud of Marcus because he was able to stick it to. Oh, wow, I don't know why I said stick it, but he was able to date Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Scottie Pippen's wife,
and that's weird because that woman saw those kids as kids. And now
listen, bro, she's from the streets, man. She's for the streets.
Yeah,
Is that
she
what they
is.
call it? She's
It's for playing, but she's fine. Anyway, she's a hoe, but she's fine. I'm
she
just
is.
pointing out that
it's fine. It is what it is. Yeah.
Let's talk about this FIFA, man. Was that the best FIFA final game? For me, it was.
Did you watch any of it? Have you watched soccer before? Tell me about what your knowledge of the game is.
So my knowledge is based on me randomly, and I remember it was, I guess, 10 years ago. I randomly had a FIFA video game, and I played it. I never really cared about soccer at all. I knew it was people who loved it. It's the most popular sport in the world. Knew all those things. Didn't care. But I played a video game and I enjoyed playing it. And I remember playing online with friends. So I started to understand it, and I was able to watch some of these games. And so when FIFA comes on, I like watching it. It's cool because it's 9, 8, 10 o'clock in the morning. You're getting ready to start your day. Games are on because usually it's in some other part of the world. I love the passion the fans have. It gives me that college football, college basketball feel, real passion. People love their country. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And this one, there have been some dramatic matches to a point where I'm watching them and you glue to your seat like, yo, what the hell is going to happen? Comebacks. I mean, even the last game, you're thinking, okay, they're up 2 really early. I'm like, all right, this is because usually you think, oh, it's going to be blowout. Then you're like,
if you're up 2, usually that you win. Like 90% of the time you win in soccer. Yeah.
And I think just like the shootout in hockey, the penalty shootout is the most dramatic. Like, is there anything more dramatic in terms of sports of like,
no.
Like it's the most dramatic element they have. So, I enjoyed it, and it's interesting why, and for many reasons. I think I enjoyed it because the USA came a little further than people expected, and I did bet on that game too. I bet France. I only bet $20. I was like, everyone wants Messi to get his, and I do too. But I was like, yeah, France gotta win. And then I lost my $20. But it was like I felt good about Messi winning. But at the same time, I really thought everyone was on Argentina. Yeah, they gotta win. It's destiny, right? Like, yeah, usually destiny does not work out. France should win. But very, very good finals. I mean, FIFA. I think the whole thing was pretty successful.
I don't watch a lot of soccer. I know a little bit just from various things, ESPN, and the big names, Ronaldo and Messi and Mbappe and Neymar from Brazil. And Brazil's got 5 World Cup championships, and France won last year. And I'm going to tell you what, man. Listen, I watched a little bit of this World Cup here and there. I kept up with it. I watched the last hour of the match yesterday, right? So I saw it. I tuned into it. I knew Argentina was up 2-0. I tuned into it and it was tied, right?
Yep.
And then I watched the rest of it from there. I believe Argentina scores Argentina scores are up 3-2. France scores. They tied at 3-3. Mbappe scores a hat trick in the finals of a World Cup. I don't think you understand how rare that is. He's 23 years old. This kid was 18 when he won the World Cup last year, or 4 years ago. I'm sorry. This guy put his team on his back, his country on his back. What's awesome about soccer is these players, and they represent the country.
It's a big deal.
It's not LeBron representing Akron, Ohio, and this guy representing the city. It's a country. That's why it's the biggest sport in the world. Yeah. You represent your country, and then you play for some club in Europe, and you make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what. I couldn't tell you the last time I was that like on the edge of my seat for a sporting event. The last time I could tell you actually was when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. I'm from Chicago. I'm a Cubs fan.
I remember where I was when I was watched that.
That was extremely crazy. Me and my dad and some family members went to a game in Chicago when we lost. We were down 3-1 in that series to the Indians, and we're like, "Oh man, this sucks." And then we won Game 5, won Game 6, go to Game 7 in Cleveland. We're winning, we're losing. Aroldis Chapman gives up a home run. And I'm like, oh wow, what's going on here? A rain delay, and then we win in extra innings. I mean, anyways, that was amazing. But this, without being emotionally invested and just watching it as a fan, and watching Lionel Messi, which is the GOAT of soccer. And if you say anybody else has had a better career, you don't know much about soccer. I'm sorry. If you're in the chat and you think Cristiano Ronaldo's better, if you think Pele's better, That's just laughable, in my opinion. So you're watching the best, most talented soccer player ever score 2 goals for his country. And then you're watching this new guy coming up, Mbappe, an absolutely credible athlete
Oh
with a
yeah, it's
crazy
amazing,
leg.
dude.
I mean, just amazing what he can do. His intensity. He's 23 years old, right?
So he's gonna be back.
He's gonna be doing, yeah,
He's
and
gonna
to
be
go
back.
the back and forth, the penalty kicks, the tying it, and I mean, it was awesome, man. I love the showmanship of the goalkeepers and how they, it was fun, man. It
The
was a
only thing is
fun
a
time.
problem is the overacting when they get pushed over. That's the only
Yeah,
thing that's
yeah.
embarrassing. It's
I didn't see a
embarrassing.
lot of that yesterday when
I
I was
think
watching it.
at
I
least
didn't
for
see a whole lot
Argentina,
of it.
they don't do that. I like
Yeah,
Messi don't necessarily do a lot of that. Like you feel like when he's on the ground, he kind of gets up. Like, you got time for that. Like a lot of that is just you're kind of falling out of the play. But I totally agree. And it's just
it was fun.
interesting why it's not as popular here, and it's getting a little better. But I just think the best players don't play here until they're
No,
old, and then
yeah,
MLS gives them a lot of money from this to show up. Hey, can you
yeah.
show up and be in the LA whatever? What's the name of the LA team? I forgot.
Galaxy.
Yeah, go to Galaxy and give you 50 million, even though
Yeah,
you're past your prime.
yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem, I think, in terms of why it's just like the best. Because the common I guess critique of soccer, it's boring. When you see the very best of the world play, I
It's
don't
not
see how
boring.
is it boring.
That was not boring yesterday because there was action, there was goals, there was I don't know how to, because I'm not like a historian on soccer, right? I've
Yeah,
seen a lot of people's takes on this and their opinions. I think what we witnessed yesterday, like if you're in America, you can't appreciate it. But outside of this country, what everybody else knows happened is similar to like if when Kobe Bryant was coming up and Michael Jordan was still in the league. Michael Jordan's with the Bulls, Kobe Bryant.
right.
And it'd be like if Kobe Bryant was a little bit more relevant, had won a championship already with the Lakers in the first couple years, and Michael was still winning some, and they met up in the finals, and there was
Right.
a game 7, and those two guys were going at it in the fourth quarter, and they each scored 20 points in the fourth quarter, and Michael Jordan hits a game winner at the buzzer. That's almost as relevant as what happened yesterday.
That's a perfect
You see what
analogy
I'm saying?
for it.
So
Yeah.
you got this young guy coming up balling, and you got the OG, the greatest, the GOAT, Michael Jordan. If that would have happened yesterday, those guys going at it, each dropping 20 points in the fourth quarter, game 7 in Chicago or in LA, and Michael Jordan hits the shot he made against the Jazz, let's say, at the free throw line.
Iconic, yeah.
That's what happened yesterday in the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
And that's why we can't appreciate it, because we don't know these guys. They're not from here. They don't speak our language. So that's why there's a little bit of a disconnect. But what happened yesterday was absolutely amazing, in my opinion. So
this is supposed to happen in NBA with LeBron versus Kobe. I remember they had commercials about it. It was supposed to happen. Like they were supposed to meet up in the finals, and that would have been amazing. I think Kobe would have bounced. I think Kobe would have put it on him.
Oh yeah,
but because Kobe was just he was an assassin, man. Like LeBron sometimes has that assassinness in him, but it's just not as Kobe's on 24/7. I think LeBron, he takes his time, but that was supposed to happen. I remember those goofy little penny-ish commercials with the puppets, and it's all supposed to culminate to this. And then who fell out? Was it Lakers that fell out? It was
Lakers made it to back to
it was LeBron's team,
2 or 3 in a row. LeBron lost to Orlando Magic or something like that. Well, that's when Dwight Howard. So that was kind of the year that it could have happened. And then you also had the Boston Celtics were really good. LeBron was with the Cavaliers, and they got by him the 1 year, couldn't get by him 1 year, so it just didn't line up. But the Lakers would have smashed LeBron and the Cavaliers.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, with Powell, because that was a pretty good team. But I think when good storylines just kind of come together in an organic sense, and it's super dramatic, like you want to write that, but you couldn't because it's just so obvious, but it actually happens in reality. I think it was pretty special. We got another 4 years, and I think they come to at least over here in this hemisphere. So
I feel like they go. Yeah, where do they go? I don't know. Is it Mexico or Canada or Toronto? It's something.
It's some kind of. And I don't know why people who don't like it. Like, I like it when they're not in our time zone, because at least here you can go to a bar at 10 o'clock in the morning, and watch some games and get a little lit. Is it responsible? No. Who cares? it's a game on and you're drinking. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Who cares? Like,
no,
kids, they're in school.
I can't wait. We're gonna have a MLS team here in St. Louis. The MLS starts in February, right, in America, and we're gonna have a team, and I can't wait. I want to try to get into it a little bit and go to some games. If they're good, I'll maybe get some season tickets and take the family and just kind of make it like start from the beginning. And I think it's going to be fun. But a lot of these matches overseas are, they start at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. It's a great excuse to have a beer and watch a game. So you're not wrong about that. Yeah.
Now they're also a little aggressive too. So be careful. Like we think our NFL fans are a little like and they want to fight over everything. Those they have full out riots over there. So be very, very careful. But definitely. I know it's a pretty popular New York team here as well. So I think you're getting there. I mean, are we gonna ever get our own Messi, American Messi? No. Probably not, because to get to that level, you can't be here anyway. You're gonna be overseas. Like you're not homegrown and then learn how to dominate. You got to play against the very best in the world. They all in Europe right now.
I want to ask you a question, because I've seen some TikToks and other things, and people are talking about the best American athletes don't play soccer. That's why it's not relevant here. You just kind of talked about that, right?
Yeah.
But in other parts of the world, that's it's more popular.
Yeah.
I saw a guy. He put together a team of NFL players, and maybe he mixed in a couple. He did an NFL and then he did NBA, right? So he said, okay, I'm going to put together 11 guys on the NFL team, current players that would play against a national team. And he had guys like, Tyreek Hill, Tavon Diggs, like NFL players, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, like athletes, right?
Yeah.
And some of them probably never even played soccer. Do you think professional athletes that would play, like maybe it's a Russell Westbrook, a Ja Morant, players like that, maybe a LeBron James as a goalkeeper, do you think those kind of guys could go in and play against some other professionals in another country?
Well, it depends on, did they have have they played the game of soccer since they were like 2? I mean, a lot of it is just based on it's athleticism, obviously, but it's the love of it, right? It's love. Yeah. It's, in other countries they're playing. It's a cheap sport to play, right? It's a cheap sport. You could play, just need a ball, right? Compared to football, you need all this money and stuff like that. Like it's just so more complicated compared to playing soccer. But I do believe our best athletes play NFL and NBA. I think our second or third tier athletes could probably do very well, and if they concentrate on another sport, but they don't. They want to play basketball. They want to play football. Same thing for boxing. Boxing has taken a sit back. Yeah, we still have a few champions. We want to see Tyson Fury. We may want to see the Bronze Bomber or whatever. But back in the day, this is where I'm old, but yes, the 1990s, I think there were better athletes being boxers because they used to make so much money.
Yeah.
Now, you definitely know a lot of NFL players, if they play boxing, they would destroy. They would be running. Like if Aaron Donald, instead of saying, I don't want to play football.
He wants to go into UFC, and he trained. If Aaron Donald trained for the UFC for a year, he's the champion of that.
I think so.
I don't see how
just learn how not to get taken down, because jiu-jitsu is a little bit more. It takes a while to learn. But look, I mean, Brock Lesnar won the NFL. Well, he actually tried for NFL.
He wasn't it.
He went into the UFC and won the championship very easily. He didn't have a lot of technique. He was just so goddamn strong, and he just like ran over people. Like sometimes, no matter how much technique you have, a guy is like almost 300 pounds on you. I don't know how much technique. Gun.
There's nothing. Listen, there's nothing.
Run.
Yeah,
weapon,
there's nothing you could do. Like I've played a lot of basketball in my life, like a lot, right? And I'm not great. I'm decent. I'm good. I'm not a big guy, but I've played versus guys that haven't played a lot, right? But they're physically maybe 6'4", 200 pounds, right? I'm not 6'4", 200 pounds, and they've never touched a basketball in their life. And I've played a lot, and I know what I'm doing. And it's when you have a different, somebody that athletic, they could sometimes do some things to you. It makes it hard. And they maybe never touched the ball in their life, but they have that size, the speed, the strength. There's something to be said for that. Now you have to know the craft and play it. And there's, I can do things that he can't do, but there's some things I physically cannot do that some of these guys can do just because of their size and their speed and their strength. So
wait, like that's why LeBron is such a force of nature. The man is huge.
He's got it all.
Strong.
Yeah.
He's the fastest and he's the strongest. And on top of that, he has an IQ. He's a genius of playing basketball. It's hard to do. You get annoyed. Shaq, how a man can be that big and that fast and that strong? He didn't even take care of himself all half the time, and he just dominated. It's just it's sometimes just not fair, right? Yeah. But also it's still a good idea to be smart. You know, like talking about boxing, like Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, gifted athlete, but he didn't get hit a lot. He was smart. It was level of intelligence there. Bernard Hopkins, like, dude spent years in jail and still able to be a championship into his 40s. George Foreman, well, it's not the same because, again, George Foreman was a big man. Yeah. He became a championship at 45 years old.
Crazy.
Knocked out Michael Moore. I remember that fight. I remember me and my dad was watching.
But that was because he was power. He had so much power. That stays with you even when you're 45 and you're in decent shape. You're gonna that one knock punch out. You know what I'm saying? So
he didn't even go like far, but he just like, I think it was like a 1-2 and Moore was like I'm going 99. So yeah, definitely I think if we can find a way to shift that culture. Same thing with hockey, right? Like brothers don't play hockey. Okay, they have a few, but if they had ability and the culture of like, yo, soccer is fun. Yeah, there'll be an influx of lots of really talented people, but it's just not happening right now. So, before actually, I thought we didn't have time. I didn't think we was gonna have time to talk about this, but more father-son drama. I don't know if you know anything about this, Pedro. Master P, make him say, I saw No something. Limit Records.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. I never had Rap Snacks. I don't even know if they taste good. You ever had that? Yeah.
I've had a couple. They're definitely in neighborhoods of St. Louis. You see Little Romeo,
in the hood,
Little Boosie, and Migos with the Cool Ranch or Dapper Ranch. I've seen.
Yeah, I'm in a ghetto, so yes, I see those too. I never bought the bags. So I don't know if they taste good, but Entrepreneur always seemed like a positive guy. You know, doing a lot of amazing, great things. And I thought he had really his loving family and stuff like that. But there's some issues with Romeo Miller, which is funny because I always felt like he put his son on rap career. I think Romeo has been on some other stuff. I think Romeo at one point was trying to do the sports stuff, but
Romeo played at USC. He went to college, D1. Yeah.
So you think things are fine, and Romeo at this point, they say he was 30. God, we're getting old. That's not possible. He can't be 30 years. No,
how old am I? I'm 41. That could be right. I bet I could see that.
Well, that's depressing. So Romeo Miller basically said this very recently in a weird Instagram post that he is broke, and the reason why is because his money was taken from Master P to pay his taxes. That's weird.
Hold on. So the son is saying he's broke because the dad took his money, the son's money, to pay taxes?
Yeah.
To pay whose taxes? The dad's
I guess the dad's taxes or something. So things kind of all right. So his sister passed away from fentanyl last year. Actually, this year. Wow, I thought it was last year.
Romeo's sister?
Yeah.
So Master P's
daughter. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you could tell there's some issues here. So he wrote on this social media post 3 days ago. I'm at a boiling point. Quote, I see a man avoid his own children's struggle with suicide and depression. I think he talked about this because of Twitch, DJ Twitch, that passed away from suicide. So so Romeo kind of brought this. He said, I seen a man avoid his own children's struggle with suicide and depression, but post about another man who passed away who he doesn't know. He's talking about DJ Twitch. That's a very strong.
That's a lot. That's messy, man. That's that's unfortunate. We don't know all the context there, but that's it's not good.
He's not quote, good. Your idols be lost. Better stop following the blind. Watch when it's revealed. So he's saying this stuff. And then Master P says, this is disrespect. You disrespected me. It just seems like
it seems like another 50 Cent and his son. Exactly. What's happening here, man? Like what?
He said, I haven't, now he's not going back and forth on Instagram. He's saying, what's the plan? I love you. The door is always open to talk. What's going on? I haven't talked to you for months. Then I think at one point, Romeo says, I try to talk to you. You're not talking to me. I'm broke. You're taking money from me somehow. He doesn't really explain all this. Romeo. He's not didn't really explain a lot of like how's he taking money? How's he not looking after you? Is that right that you're basically accusing him that he didn't take care of his daughter that died just a couple of months ago?
That's great, man.
What else is he supposed to do if you guys also I think both were adults. So like how much more should he be doing?
Yeah. I mean, I look at it like, listen, we're outsiders, right? We can only see and know what is shown to us as far as with celebrities, right? We don't know the inner workings of a family dynamic and the conversations. But Master P was putting his son on from an early age. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So the things that this young man has, if he's 30, a lot of it is because his father built an empire, allowed him to then get into that and molded him, cultivated. He was on a TV show. He went to USC. Like seemed like as an outsider, he was helping his son kind of do some things and wanted him to be the next guy to take over. So it's just unfortunate that once again, we have this pride and ego getting involved, right? And we're being messy online. And it's just crazy, man.
Yeah. He said Romeo Miller claims he's broke and all of his money was used to pay Master P's taxes. Master P responds, and Master P responds by saying, why are you doing this online? Right. Communicate with me. And then Romeo says, I've tried to talk to you and all you do is deflect. This is the way I'm using social media to apply pressure on you. So that could
be true. Maybe Master P did something. Maybe he did something wrong that we don't know. But it just seems really bad,
So if you go on Romeo Miller's IG, he has like a poem called "The Tree of Trauma." He says, my mother was broken for years publicly, and still from the concrete she rose. If people really knew the truth, you would be strong like my mama too. Regardless of the damage, just look deep, because behind every great king, there's a queen that carried on his curses. That was never seen. I tried behind the walls that hide, but maybe social media is the only way to open up this giant's eyes. So, and again, Master P is like, yo, can you just like call me? Like, I still love you, son. What's going on?
Yeah.
You can come talk to your father. He said, quote, you can come and talk to your father and your family like a man. You have kids too, unquote. And then he followed up. He said, I wish this on no parent. And then Romeo says, no, I've pulled up. You deflect. So we don't know, but damn.
I mean, let me ask you a question, Hannibal. Do you think? So we've now talked about two young men, right? Romeo and 50 Cent's son, right?
Yeah.
Both fathers, Curtis Jackson, Percy Miller, the dirt, right? Dealing dope, dealing drugs, and then making it into a business and like the dirt. These guys came from the hood, the ghettos, like rose up and made multi-million or almost billion-dollar empires between them.
Both of them, man.
Both of them. I mean, done a lot, made a lot of people millionaires, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So do you think it's these sons that have had a lot just given to them, have lived a life of luxury since birth, and now they're men, they're 30 years old, and their dad's not giving them money anymore, and now they're crying about it? Do you think it could be that?
It's interesting because at least Romeo has some level of accomplishment rather than 50 Cent's son. I think 50 Cent is saying, hey, you have done nothing. And he's still younger, but he's like, you haven't really, you just want things because your mother wants things. And it could be something similar, but I think Romeo has made some money, and it's weird that you are an adult. How are you broke? Did Percy Miller must be, have he talked to you about how to take care of your money?
Yeah.
Do you think he's manipulating you? What's going on? And and also you guys are still in trauma. I don't know how it feels to lose a sister or as a father lose a daughter. It seemed like there's some still trauma here, and now it's like I have like they have frustration and they want to release it somehow. And I don't know if he's blamed. He's like, is Romeo blaming his father for not doing enough, and that's why his sister died?
Yeah.
Is that even fair for Master P? Like, at one point, if everyone's an adult, what can you do? Like, if there's some issues with fentanyl, that's a big deal. Fentanyl addiction
it's an epidemic in this
yeah.
country. It is. It's a good point. I didn't think about it like that, but it's I just, I would hope that a father and son could just have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're talking about, yeah, okay, you got to pay these tax, this and that. These people still got money, man. Romeo could go out and do some kind of appearance at a club or do this or do
He has
that
2 million
and
Instagram followers. He has
money.
leverage. Yeah.
Right. So like we're talking about a time where inflation's crazy, this country's going crazy. People are struggling to buy Christmas presents for their kids. And we see these celebrities, right? They got their traumas. They got, we're all humans, but like they're talking about like not first world problems, right? So it's hard for me to like have empathy for them because like these people got millions, man. Like they do. And if you mismanage your money, or if you're a 30-year-old man and your dad has done these things for you and you had these opportunities and you didn't get your money right, that's on you. That's how I look at it, because you're not 16 years old, you're 30 years old, right? So
what's your opinion on, and I play devil's advocate here, but let's say, some tragedy happened. No matter how rich you are, when you lose a loved one, it doesn't matter. Like you would, like if I, even the amount of money I have, something happened to someone I loved, if I had a chance to give it all away to get him back, I would, right?
Yeah.
And then you have issues with your father. You have tried to talk to him and he's not listening or he's being deflective. Do you have your mother clearly still dealing with it? You're still dealing with it, but you want him to listen to you. How do you do that? Like, how do you get his attention? Yeah. Do you go on social media, or do you just keep knocking on a man's door? I mean, he's a millionaire. He can, if he avoids you, he can deflect if he can. Like, what do you do? Or you just let it go?
Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe maybe he feels like this is the only way he could do it because he's applying pressure, right? Like we talked about, like you said.
Yeah.
So I get that, but it's still not right. That's not the appropriate way to do it, I think, in most ways, right? I think if anything, for me, like if I'm having beef with my dad, I'm 41. My dad will be 62 in February, right? And we've gone back and forth about certain things. We don't always like each other. He might question me. I might say something to him. Like that's, but that's our relationship. It's still a really strong relationship, right? But if I got a problem, I'm gonna call him. If he ain't trying to take my call, I'm gonna drive over there and knock on the door. And if we need to be in the front lawn, like we're gonna figure it out. I'm not gonna be messy about it and go on the Sun and go online and post on Instagram. Like that's my dad. Right. At the end of the day, I got ultimate respect, right? Regardless, because he's still a human being. He's flawed. I'm not gonna like drag him through the streets and like put him in online and make like that's my dad. I have to respect that, right?
Yeah.
And so I lost a sister, right? Well, he just lost a daughter. So I should be a little bit like empathetic for that.
We should be love. Like it should be love there. And I just think,
it should be.
They're still going through grief. Obviously, if it happened in May, like the year didn't finish yet. So, is anyone actually getting any kind of treatment? Anyone's talking through this? Yeah. Was he there enough to kind of, be with the family? There's something going on here for him to write that to make it seem like he's an evil man. Like, is he an evil man or he made mistakes? It's a difference, right? All big parents. Difference. I'm sure I'm making mistakes sometimes as a father or as a husband, or even like we make mistakes. Are you labeling him to be evil? Like, are you giving him the Diddy treatment? Like, I don't know if P. Diddy is evil, but he has a history of some nefarious shit.
He does.
To a point where, like, I've never heard of anything of Master P doing anything, messing up people's deals and being super shady. Yeah. So this is just the sins of a father, just maybe not being there or whatever it is. Is he evil or he just made mistakes? And the way Romeo's putting out, it may seem like, Master P is just out taking advantage of his family or wasn't there for his family. And I don't think that's true either. But like you said, we don't know. But I just thought that was a really sad story because, you don't want to see father and sons arguing, man. Like, not like that.
It is sad. And I think that, it speaks to a bigger issue. You just kind of touched on it for a little bit. Black and brown men in this country, okay? People from my side of my family were Puerto Rican, super prideful. Like that's our.
Oh, yeah.
We are super prideful, a lot of energy, and like our egos can be really big, right? Passionate. right? But then you have the black culture like is known for like therapy is kind of like a forbid, like a thing you don't
No.
talk about.
Yeah.
People don't get it.
Egos. Same thing though.
Egos. It's very
Yeah.
similar. So like we don't get we're too we're not ready to receive help or ask for it enough as a community. We're just not. And I
Yeah.
think even if you've got money and power and success, you still don't do it. And everybody might need a little bit of help or whatever it is that you need, right? A little bit of guidance, a little bit of therapy, whatever you want to call it, right? A support group, whatever. Because things will always come up if you don't get help for your mental health and you don't get your stuff right and you don't talk to somebody. And I think we're seeing more and more, even people that are highly successful with a lot of money, if you don't figure stuff out for yourself and get some good mental health done and some work, things are going to come up, and I've seen it in my family with certain people, and we ain't got no money. We're nobody. Right.
Right.
But like we'd also let our pride get in the way too much. And it doesn't allow us to forgive, learn about empathy, learn about having tough conversations. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we continue to see this within our communities, and it's an issue for us,
I think once you're posting on social media, especially something like that, it's pain. Romeo's feeling some sort of pain there. And it's easy to, even 50 Cent's son, there's pain. And yeah, we can kind of trash him, especially he's like, I'm broke and I have no money. It's like, well, then what the hell were you doing? We can trash him with his financial decisions, but that's a man in pain right now. And I kind of turn around with your perspective on it's the father that needs to step up and try to fix this.
Yeah.
Because he's older. He's a man. He put this child into the world. Child may be misguided, possible, or he could be completely 100% right.
Yeah.
You got to, that the father has to be the first one to say, son, hey, you know what? I apologize for things that have happened. I still love you. Let's work this out. Let's not talk about this on social media. So hopefully Master P, he seems like a kind of guy that would do that. But also, like you said, ego be there. Now you're trying to embarrass him in front of everybody. That may push him even away from his son. So hopefully that, because you don't want to you lost your daughter. You don't want to lose your son in a, not necessarily him passing away, but to a point you don't talk to him. Like you don't want that, because then you're gonna always regret that for the rest of your life. So hopefully that all works out. But it's an unfortunate thing. But let's not end on a super negative note, sad note. We haven't talked about what we've been listening to. In the past couple of days, I've been listening to MF Doom. I don't know.
Ooh, I love me some MF Doom, man. Yeah.
I tell you, it's unfortunate. Sometimes you don't really appreciate something when it's gone. But I just kind of got back into just listening to some of his stuff. Mad Villain, the two albums they have, it's next level stuff, man. It's out of this world. No, it's not for the radio. It's not gonna come up on MTV or whatever. I don't know if kids are watching nowadays. But damn, like the rhymes, the beats, it's just amazing. If you guys have not checked out any of MF, first of all, he has like 1 billion songs, but MF Doom,
this is the one I like. Operation Doom Day, right? 1999. That's the one I was listening to maybe a couple of months ago. Yeah.
I think the second one, I think MM Food, and the Mad Villain stuff.
It's an easy. It's there's a lot in there, but it's like a good vibe. It's an easy listen. It gets you in a good mood. You know what I'm saying? It's good walking music, riding in the car. Like MF Doom is completely underrated. Not enough people know about him. He's been making music for a long time. So.
Yeah, you know why I jumped back in? I was watching the Boondocks, just randomly. I love that show, and the one of the album they used a few of the beats was the Mad Villain. What album was that? Let me look at trying to remember the name of that album they had. Mad Villainy, and that song that album came out in 2004.
Yeah,
and they have a few, and the beats are right, and then you just MF Doom just killing it. Like the that's how I think we noticed this when you put a really talented rapper with a great producer, and they understand each other. They understand what works for the rapper in terms of the rhythm and the cadence and the delivery, and then the beats accompany that. It's nothing better. It's nothing better. Nothing better. Yeah. So I definitely highly recommend you guys check that out. If you haven't, you will enjoy it. It's really good. It's not for the radio. It's no pop stuff. He ain't talking about killing. But there's some intelligence, a lot of great lyrics. So that's my end of the year.
It's true. It's hip hop. You know, for me, it's hip hop in its purest form. You know what I mean? And it takes you to a place when you listen to an album like that. It's like it just kind of it sets your tone for your day in a positive way. You know, for me at least. And yeah, I started listening back to him a couple of months ago, and I realized like, yeah, I forgot like how good this guy was and is. You know what I mean? So it's good music.
Yeah. And the last comment from Tony, you know, as a father, I would not close the door on my son no matter what. And I'm sure too, like my son can just be a complete douche to me. He's not, he's cool, but I would not turn away. I mean, he have to do something crazy. And even then, he still talked to him like, hey, what's wrong with you? That kind of thing. At least have a conversation, but we'll see. Hopefully that all works out. And as we, you know, going towards the end of the year, are we going to talk about the album of the year? Are we going to break that down? I know you already have your answer, but you want to do like a top 5? Like, I don't know how many albums we've had.
I think we need to do that. I think we need to do a top 5 or so. I think it's going to be, I think we're going to have similar albums in there, but I definitely think between you and I, the top 3 could probably be very different.
Okay.
But I think this year's been underrated. I think there's been some great albums, right? We've talked about a few of them here already in the last several months. At this point, I still have my number 1 is still my number 1, but I'm continuing to listen to Nas, and you know I listened to a little bit of that Pusha T album that you really like. I listened to that last week a little bit. So, and there's a lot of other really good things out there that are less mainstream, but I think we should definitely do that.
Do you want to do that next, or you want to wait till next week? How you want to do?
Let's do that. How about we do that on Monday, and let's figure something else out for Wednesday. Okay. I want to give myself a little bit of time to really listen to a little bit more. So
yes, because that KD3 is, you know. But anyway, don't worry. I don't want to sully and throw the ideas in here yet.
But I want to say something real quick. I saw him in here earlier. Dash Theory TV, right? He put up a post talking about which album was better, and I believe he mentioned College Dropout, Kanye West, up against Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your take on that because I know you kind of had maybe an opinion on it. I know what I voted on. Which album out of those two, real quick, as we end the show
Dash TV, check out his channel if you're into the gig economy stuff.
Yeah.
You want very super smart guy. And he kind of gets our channel. I think he's probably around our ages because he gets our references.
Yeah.
And he throws out really good questions and stuff like that. And he's in the chat sometimes as well. So he put this up. He's like, what's a better? I think he put the question. This may not be the best timing for this poll.
Yeah.
But I don't get. Listen, Kanye. I don't know what the hell's going on. We've been defending him, but he's. Sometimes some stuff I think he just needs to sit down.
We're talking straight music. We're talking
straight, and that's why I want to keep it straight music too. It's easy to say, yeah. Well, Jay-Z, obviously, like Reasonable Doubt is one. His debut album is one of the best albums you could possibly listen to.
Yeah,
but no, that College Dropout was a change. He was not meant to make it. Kanye was not meant to be there. They didn't think he could rap. They was like, you just make beats. Stop. We wasting all these good beats on your rhymes. You don't look the part. You don't play the part. He made a hit song about Jesus, like Jesus Walks. The production, the fearlessness. So when
Jesus Walks hits hard. That song is so good. Man.
And he has a club hits. He has, he has the new workout. He has some, family talking about families and bringing a lot of that soulful, that gospel stuff into hip hop that wasn't necessarily there before. So I'm trying to think, like, okay, is it better than Reasonable Doubt? I don't think I still didn't vote.
I voted.
But if we're gonna go hip hop lyrically, yes, I would say yes. Reasonable Doubt is probably ahead because Reasonable Doubt has some amazing songs in there.
Yeah,
and it had B.I.G. in there. He's killing it. So yes, Reasonable Doubt is better. But I guess my thought is maybe the documentary kind of gave me that bias of the amount of effort this dude had to just to put it out.
Good point.
That's probably what it is. That's probably what's got my mind more biased. I think it's seeing his struggle. And then when he pulled out, it's one of the best debut albums around.
Yeah.
I think that's what probably got me. But what did you pick?
No, that's a good point. I picked The Reasonable Doubt, and only for this reason, right? I think historical context, I think the Kanye West album, College Dropout, is more relevant, right? Because of what it did and how it the trajectory it took Kanye and gave him relevant. I get as a rapper, gave him relevancy. But for me, if I look at things like if I can only listen to one album for the rest of my time on this world, I'll take the Reasonable Doubt album, because there's just I love a lot of the songs in that, and I enjoy more of Kanye West's other albums, so I can get my Kanye fix in other ways. Whereas with Jay-Z, he's got some classics, but Jay-Z, I mean, the Reasonable Doubt is it's a classic.
It's next
album.
level.
It's next level. I like it. It's unique. It's Jay-Z before Jay-Z, and that Jay-Z was just a little bit different than
hungry.
He's more hungry. It's a little bit different than the commercial Jay-Z, because a lot of the stuff after that was a little commercial, and there's a few skips for me when I listen to his albums.
And it seemed like that was on purpose. He was trying to get paid.
Yeah,
he was like, I'm trying to get on, and I'm gonna dumb my stuff down. I'm gonna get the best producers, and I already know what works for the radio. It seemed like it was very purposeful, because when you listen to him, I don't know if he's a big partier, clubber kind of guy. Anyway, he seems like a quiet, reserved dude, but you kind of know what works for your market. Mm-hmm. And Jay-Z's a businessman. That's why he's a billionaire. So, but I still have a special place in my heart for the dropout, college dropout, driven dad. He said it's relatable. Yeah, a little bit relatable too. Like I was working at the Gap, and I don't want to do this. I want to be like, it's like, yeah, man, the Gap sucks. Drive slow is not on college dropout, but I was just for some reason that song popped up. But I will go with Reasonable Doubt. But that was a really good, interesting question, because
it's a great question, because it makes you think a little bit, and you're gonna have about equal parts. You're going to have just as many people saying this as the other, and I think that makes for good conversation. And so I just wanted to shout that out, because I thought that was an interesting post.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely like to have more of those kind of questions. Put more versus, because I know when I put the Blueprint series against KD, King's Disease, I think in this our community, we're more Nas fans than Jay-Z. I think, but we kind of forget how amazing Kanye put his foot in the production of the Blueprint. Like he put everything in there. And another two were like, while I think KD is a little bit more consistent with 1, 2, and 3, but that's another conversation for another day. Yeah. So on that note, guys, thank you for coming through. Hit like, subscribe if you haven't. Share this.
We hit 400 subs tonight. I don't know if y'all know that, but thank you. If Hannibal knew, we were creeping around 390. I think we hit 400. So I just want to say thank you from Hannibal and I. Continue to watch. I appreciate you guys coming into lives. Continue to like and share. We got no problem asking for y'all to do that if you're getting value from the content. We're building something here. It's a grind, but we enjoy it, and we appreciate you guys for spending time with us. So thank you for 400 subscribers.
Yeah, thank you. It's actually more of an enjoyable experience to see the growth compared to our main channels, because it's something different. We're trying stuff out. We're throwing stuff at the wall. And the fact that we see the same cool people coming in, we see a few new names. I see Chris here, Mad Mapper. Appreciate you guys are coming in and seeing the same people, seeing Bobby, Koala, Pia, Nova Dasher, Hector, Cliff Dog. Like, that's awesome, because I remember you guys' names, because I see you guys here every week supporting us as we ramble and sometimes make no sense. But
absolutely.
I appreciate that. And we'll be back here next, obviously Wednesday. Let me know in the comments below, what should I do with my winnings as the Giants beat the Washington Commanders?
Of course he had to end the show. He made Hannibal just made $1,000 million or something. Christmas came early.
Should I bet another $100 on the Giants to win the next game? Put in the comments below. I won't do that, but
no,
you could do if you wanted to.
Take your wife or your kids out to dinner, man. Don't, because if you bet again, you're gonna lose. So
I'm gonna take myself to dinner. tired of the kid.
Now Hannibal's about ready to walk his ass down to the bar, have a couple cocktails.
Now I'm just gonna do a bunch of group chats, and talk about my wins. But appreciate you guys for coming through, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
See you.
Peace.